And
Oh yeah, dude, that mustache looks good, dude.
we are going. Thanks, man.
Okay.
So we'll start off as per usual with our sharing our readings from the previous week. So you want to start us off, Langdon?
Sure. One moment. I'm trying to craft up this last sentence. So if someone else could start us off, that'd be great.
Caitlin?
Yeah, I'll do it because mine's like incredibly short and is mostly just this photo of a man walking on railroad tracks. So
Can you share your screen with us by chance?
I can. I'm sure I
I really
can.
want to see this photo.
It's up.
Photo's
Everyone
really-
can go to it.
I didn't.
So
I
why-
already saw the photo.
La, 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 la. Shouldn't there just be a button for this? It feels like there should just be a button.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Oh, there. Okay. Just my face.
Oh, sweet.
Wow. Screen share.
So here's this photo of this man. Anyway, the thing calls itself Nas'Thuriel. Will you say that one more time, Woody? Nas'Thuriel?
Nas'Thuriel.
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 The red Nas'Thuriel. No, it's not. Nas. The red prince, ruler over an otherworld realm of bliss and pain, birthed into our world by the death of Skullfucker Grizz, heralded by the outbreak of Nas'T in this place. Thus far, facing my demons hasn't been so literal. I'm not totally sure that I'm not dreaming. I mean, really, how would I know? It's not like I'm always where I'm supposed to be, mentally speaking, or actually physically speaking too. I've seen Nas'Thuriel before. I've felt him before. I wonder if the others have too. That's it. Short and sweet.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Nice.
Do you guys know?
Nas'Thuriel.
Nice.
Uh,
I can do mine.
Anything to share?
Or unless, are you ready, Langdon?
Yeah, I am. Cool. I just read this up in the last half hour, so we'll see how it goes. The thing calls itself Nas'Thuriel, the Red Prince, ruler over an otherworld realm of bliss and pain, birthed into our world by the death of Skullfucker Grizz, heralded by the outbreak of Nas'T in this place. Thus far, facing my demons hasn't been so literal, not to say I haven't had my fair share of face-to-face encounters. There are few vices I allow myself to take part in. No drugs, no gambling. No, the thrill of the hunt is enough to keep my blood racing. I do allow myself a glass of red wine every now and again, to keep up with culture and current trends. No, the vice that holds me is more atypical, I suppose. Humans, in polite company, say asked at a ladies' gala by some nosy housecarl, I'd say I find humans to be the most curious race. To be candid, I find them despicable and brutish, animalistic in fact. They're hairy and more often than not dirty. Like dogs, they act on impulse. When they do take time to plan, they move with vibrato and urgency. That life must be taken now, for there will not be a later. And they're always trying to overpower each other, in politics as in romance, so much so that an institution built over a lifetime, be it a marriage or an empire, may crumble in a day. As with any vice, I'd surmise, I find humans as alluring as I do revolting. Both genders have found avenues to tap into my inner desires. Many nights were spent sweating over them, and I mean that as literally as I do figuratively. I've anxiously awaited the approval of their uppermost elite. I've baited and broke the hearts of countless hopeful romantics, and been broken myself. She told me her name was Mizzy, told me she loved me, told me we'd be happy as three, that our love was worth it, that we could lay it all on the line, our reputations and obligations. Then she told me the child died. And that's it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a three-way.
oh,
That was good. I enjoyed it. That was awesome.
That was really good. That was
Yeah.
cool.
Shut up,
The cat thinks so too.
cats.
Cat approval.
Now, Jerry, that's not to say that that Langdon hasn't had a three-way
Okay.
with a bunch of humans. Three-way, five-way, who knows? Let's dive into this one.
All right, who's next?
I'll read mine. How do I get to mine? That's how do I upload mine?
Oops.
Oops.
Don't go there. Here you go.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. So, this thing calls itself Nas'Thuriel, the Red Prince, ruler over an otherworld realm of bliss and pain. Birthed into our world by the death of Skullfucker Grizz, heralded by the outbreak of Nasty in this place. It's really unfair. A winged red beast. It's easy to be famous when you look like that. Pretty unfair if you ask me. If I looked like that, I'd be famous too. What's more is death seems to generate fame and infamy. Things that live on past death are incredible to some people. I've seen enough ghosts and spirits to know that death is really the end of any real efficacy one can have in this world. I once rented a room in a riverside inn. It was a dark and dingy room, and I had checked in far too late to start a fire in the fireplace. I was too drunk to bother lighting a candle and write in my journal. Past midnight, the door opened. I watched a tall and slender man take off his boots and place them by the door's side of the bed. I was too afraid to look over him for more than a second. He proceeded to strip down naked, pulling his clothes on the chair. He climbed into bed beside me and slept. I stayed awake until the early hours, afraid of this strange man in my bed who blocked my way to the door. I watched the hook where I had hung my knife and shirt until my eyes couldn't be sure what they were seeing. When I awoke, the man was gone. I got dressed and told the innkeep that he was operating a shithole and that his cheap and slippery mode of business would be heard on the trail. He didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Since then, I've seen, watched, and been in the company of many of the dead. They're famous, the dead, and I'm here to tell you they don't count for shit. So.
Nice.
Let's go.
That's a spooky prompt.
You bringing us home, Sammy?
Yeah.
All right.
Still have the first part of the prompt. I hand wrote mine, so I don't have I just started it partway through the prompt. So, this thing calls itself Nas'Thuriel, the Red Prince, ruler over an otherworld realm of bliss and pain. Birthed into our world by the death of Skullfucker Grizz, heralded by the outbreak of Nasty in this place. Thus far, facing my demons hasn't been so literal. And I've had a lot of demons, including, but not limited to, addiction, extortion, racketeering, prostitution, not to mention the time I convinced the Pancake Twins to blow their own heads off. It's like all of my shortcomings, and some of them are quite short, mind you, have culminated into this physical being, as if I could no longer put off facing them, and so they decided to take form and face me themselves. I'm not sure that I'm up to the challenge, but it is perhaps the only fair test to prove I'm worthy of life. Because if I can't face my demons now, in the face of such gravely danger, I surely deserve to die.
All right.
Nice.
Great. What? We got the ringer. This might be the first week that we did it, so congratulations, everybody. Nice work.
It's here, yeah. I think it is.
Okay, well, I'm going to do what I did last week. I think I did last week, and I'm just going to try to catch us up on what happened last week with a little bit of a backtrack.
Woo!
I don't actually have a song. I was doing other work today, kind of working on format stuff, but anyways. Last time in the Veldt, they were near the camp of Grizz, the skullfucker Grizz, and when they got close, they saw that Francesca and Dr. Cumberbund, they were not in a good spot. They were captured. I don't have anything there. Things were getting tricky, and skullfucker Grizz had an itchy finger and an itchy crotch. And Francesca was his target. And so Dr. Cumberbund had to think fast. He had to pull something out of his ass. So he came up with some kind of cockamamie story about some potions and kind of played along with the whole orcs' rights activism thing. And they had this fucked up looking fella. They called him Chrissy. And he was covered in pimples and shit. So Cumberbund, with his silver tongue, convinced Skullfucker Grizz to let him go grab his medicine cards. That's when the group had to think fast. So they grabbed a little plan together. They knocked out the guards, and they went right past Skullfucker Grizz's defenses. And that's when all hell broke loose. In the end, they killed Grizz. And he only got to swing his big old axe. Looked like it might have taken a lot of work to make that a few times. And an encounter that otherwise may have lasted a long time was cut short. And a demon was born into this world. A demon known as Nas'Thuriel. Okay. So... our scene opens here at the Goblin Moonshine Camp in the wake of a terrible skirmish, the culmination of which was the eruption of Nas'Thuriel, a winged demon from another world, out of the corpse of Skullfucker Grizz, as blood and nasty poured out of his various holes and wounds. The shocking act was witnessed by the group, but the first to respond was Langdon.
I'm gonna. Langdon is kind of scared shitless at this point. Has never seen anything quite like that before, and so Langdon's gonna jump down and run over to Dr. Cumberbund.
Okay. Langdon jumps down off the medicine cart and swiftly moves past Chrissy as he's shaking and crying. He's still not noticed the emergence of the demon. So, Dr. Cumberbund and Langdon, you guys have dialogue.
What the hell is that thing? I've never seen anything quite like it. I've faced 1,000 beasts in my times, and I've never seen a winged creature so vilesome.
It's some kind of demon of some sort, somehow related to Nasty.
All right, we better get Stephanie the fuck out of here then. You're certain about the nasty thing?
And Stephanie, you're right there, like next to him. They're kind of like talking with you, like blatantly standing next to you.
Hey, I know who that is. I've seen it before.
When?
Stephanie has seen this creature before when she's been in the throes of the incredible high that Nasty brings on when you consume enough of it.
Last time we were last time I took Nasty back in the mansion, when I sprinted up those steps, this is what I was seeing.
So you've been in cahoots with this guy before? I knew I shouldn't have trusted you, Stephanie.
No, not in
You broke my
cahoots.
candle, and now you're in cahoots with the demon.
All right. And Jerry, while this conversation is going on, Jerry stands dumbfounded directly beneath the dripping demon, its wings flapping, blood still pouring off of it. Oh, this is a nice place. Everything's so calm and still.
Oh, no, this is impossible. I just slain Skullfucker Grizz. How is this still here?
Oh, Skullfucker Grizz is gone, but I'm here now. Nas'Thuriel, pleased to make your acquaintance.
Are you friendly?
Oh, I'm very friendly.
You want to join our party?
Well, I think a better question is, do you want to join my party? Life should be a party after all, don't you think, Jerry?
Yeah, party. That's the ticket.
That's the ticket.
What do I have to do to join your party?
We'll go back to Langdon here.
All right, Stephanie. If you are you or are you not in cahoots with this guy? Are you working for him, or is he working?
No.
Or are you helping us?
I'm helping you guys. I'm not working for him. Sometimes I can't control myself.
Okay, well, maybe then we should we'll do our best to have you keep your distance. But what do we know about this dude? How do we stop him?
All right, as you're speaking here, Nas'Thuriel slowly flaps his wings and lowers himself to the ground. And when standing, he stands the height of a human, 5-something. He stretches his wings and then tucks them behind him, and he motions over to the group. Why don't you come over here, gang? Jerry and I are about to have a drink.
Yeah, come on, guys.
All right, let's play along, but don't drink it.
Okay, and I'm gonna start kind of walking really quickly towards the Nasty.
Okay, so there's this big erupted still, and y'all move close so that you're in near the demon.
I'm keeping my wits about me, and I'm gonna stay on the other side of the table, on the far end of the table.
So Langdon stays a good distance away from the Red Prince. Oh, it's been a long time since I was here. Feels good to stretch my wings back in the Veldt again. What year is it?
It's
Which of the
year
giants
of
is
our
king?
Lord. I guess I'll tell him the year.
He looks confused. He doesn't understand your answer, and he speaks back. Which of the giant lords is king right now? You don't know what he's talking about. You've never heard of giants.
None of the giant lords are king right now. The king is of course King Alfred the Ninth.
That sounds like a bunch of nonsense.
Of the human clans.
I don't know anything about that. But listen, since y'all were so kind as to bring me into this place, I feel like I should return a favor. And I should give you a little visit into my home. Maybe you've heard of it. I know Stephanie likes to hang out there.
What is it?
It's the Ravishment, of course. And as he exclaims this, he raises his hands and sort of bolts of energy and this kind of roiling prismatic liquid shoot out towards you all. And I want you all to make will saves.
I don't think will exists in this version. I think it's just wisdom, right?
Or
Just
wisdom
download it.
saves, rather, yeah.
12.
16.
11.
I got a 7.
Okay, so y'all are kind of hit by this thing, and sort of this hot liquid starts to seep into your pores. You've been hit by some kind of blast of supercharged nasty, direct hit. And you start to feel funny, and some of you know the familiar effects, the kind of elated, frightening rush that comes on before a intense nasty binge. And as you start to fall under its influence, Nas'Thuriel shouts out and says, "Well, enjoy. I gotta go. I got some work to do. Have a great time."
No, come back. Oh, it's getting rainbowy.
Yeah.
Basically, the background around you fades, and you start to enter this shifting space as you leave your familiar forms behind. And the last thing you see is the Red Prince as he flies away. And you're kind of overcome, and you're in this strange space, the Ravishment. You can't necessarily always feel your body, but you're moving forward. So, yeah, it's your turn to explore the space, and let's start with Dr. Cumberbund.
That's it. We got dosed. Everyone just stay calm and I sound really weird.
And as you speak, your voice seems to change pitch, and you seem to not be able to control the emotion that you're giving with the pitch, the tone of your voice.
I hope you guys are all staying put, not going too far away.
And all of a sudden, Dr. Cumberbund, you notice that you're standing in this strange prismatic place. You can't necessarily feel the dimensions of your own body. And as you start to walk around, the speed at which you move doesn't seem to correspond to the speed at which you effort to move. You look around for your companions, but you find that they're all gone, and you're alone.
I'm going to start running.
All right, you start running, and as you run, all of a sudden you stub your toe, and you fall forwards. Make a dexterity check.
Uh, 8.
All right, you stub your toe abruptly, and you pitch forward, and when you should hit the ground, you just fall. And you fall, and the colors are rushing past you. You're picking up speed, and after a while, you're moving with such intense speed that your face and your hat, your clothes are getting torn away, and you're accelerating faster and faster and faster until at some point you can't really tell how fast you're going, and the speed becomes numb, and it's almost the same as being totally still. And suddenly you do feel still, and the howling as the air rushes past you, it gets so loud that it turns into a din, and it stops completely, and you find yourself lying on your back, and you're in a strange space. It's like a hospital almost, or a little sickness ward, and you see around you beds filled with children, some of them coughing, some of them crying, and the matron moves from child to child, giving out medicine. And there's a little boy in a bed next to you. Are you feeling okay?
Where are we?
Oh, we're at the orphanage.
No, not again.
How much sausage did you eat?
Oh God, I
How much did you eat? How much did you eat?
I didn't need any. It's not my fault.
All of a sudden, the bed starts to catch fire, and we're going to move to Jerry. Jerry, you're stumbling around. Things are. You feel like you're in a tight space.
This reminds me of my mining days.
You're moving forward, but the dimensions of the prismatic space around you force you to go to your knees.
This is a position I'm not accustomed to being in all the time.
You feel a cold wind coming behind you.
Yeah, I need to get somewhere warm.
As you move forward, the ground becomes sticky, and you find your hands every time you move and plot forward a little bit. The ground gets a little bit stickier, and the wind rushing towards you gets fiercer and colder, and soon you're really shivering, but you're also moving through like this tacky kind of like flypaper surface below you, and it's getting lower and lower.
Oh, it's cold. Ground sticky in front of me. No change there.
All of a sudden, you feel yourself falling what was previously down. You're falling up, floating and kind of turning head over heels until all of a sudden you're seated at the roulette table and the wheel is spinning at one of your familiar haunts back when you had means.
20 on black. No red. No green. No blue.
Good. Very good, Mr. Duster. Oh, and it's a winner. How would you like to collect your winnings, sir?
Just give it to me. Give it all to me.
Oh, I'm afraid there's a problem. And the roulette dealer looks down at you with a strange look. He appears to be looking at your chest.
What's wrong with my chest?
You look down, and instead of your familiar chest, you see a skeletal form. And where your heart should be in an empty rib cage, pulses a large somnium gem before it catches fire, and you likewise begin to be consumed by fire. You raise your hand to scream out, but all that happens is a strange clacking, shaking sound. And we move to Langdon.
I want to try to hold on to my reality, and can I grab my spyglass and try to see where Nas'Thuriel flew off to?
Yes. You raise your glass, but when you you raise your glass to your eye, and you realize that it's not a spyglass; it's a trumpet. And then your other hand also raises. You try again, but your second hand also has a trumpet. You're holding these trumpets up to your eyes, but they're not eyes. In fact, they're lips. And you start to sound a horn. You're calling out for the hunt, and your horse is bucking beneath you. You begin to ride.
All right, you stupid animal, and I'm gonna smack it on the back with a little horse whip.
You bring your crop down to whip the beast, but you feel a sharp snap across your back, and you realize that you are riding yourself and whipping yourself and playing the trumpet all the while out of two of your lip eyes. Come back to bed, Langdon. And Stephanie.
Where'd that voice come from?
Stephanie. You're wandering through this space, but you feel strangely lucid. You feel the space above on your brow kind of pulsing, and it seems to be kind of keeping you going straight. You walk through this prismatic landscape, and suddenly there's a fierce wind that kind of tumbles about, and there's a terrible smell on the air.
I'm gonna start like grasping around me, just trying to find any solid wall or object. and keep going. I want to keep going towards the smell because it's the only tangible thing at this point. So I'm following it.
At first, it stinks. It smells like boiled leather, but eventually, you recognize it as a familiar smell of the underdistrict in the city of Bridges. You're moving along a familiar street. You turn a corner, and you see a line of junkies strung out, floating amongst the crates and the puddles. They're all getting their load on. One of them licks the rim of a broken bottle that once contained Nas'Thuriel. He looks over at you and says, "Is that you, Steve?" As you step forward, you step through one of the puddles and you splash and fall. And you come up on the other side, and there's out of a red puddle of wine spilled on the floor of the Baron's bedroom. "Stephanie, come back to me." The Baron motions to you on a large, exotic mammoth fur rug, and but as you look to his face, his eyes look different. They look like the eyes of the demon you just saw.
No, this can't be. I killed you. I remember killing you.
"Oh, you may have killed the Baron, but you didn't kill me, Stephanie. You can't kill me." And as he opens his mouth, gold coins start to spew out. Ching, 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 ching. And his eyes turn backwards. And we're going to go back to Dr. Cumberbund.
Am I still in the orphanarium?
You're not. You're in the back of a wagon as it bounces, and you have a terrible hangover.
Oh, God.
"Hey, what'd you do with your cut?"
What are you talking about?
"What'd you do with your cut?"
What's this guy look like?
You turn and you see a mustachioed man. He holds a poultice to a head wound over his eye, and he says, "I'm just curious. I'm going to have to end up spending all mine on medicine. You look like you got off pretty well. What you going to do with your cut?"
Cut of what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
"Are you my brother?
No.
Are you my daddy?"
You got the wrong guy. Why don't you leave me alone?
All of a sudden, you realize that you're not in a cart, but you're sitting in a wagon, and the wagon is being pulled behind an old donkey, and you're small, 7 years old, and you're bouncing in the high heat of summertime. And a woman in a white dress is leading the donkey. "Just be a good boy and keep quiet. We're almost there."
Where are we going?
"Well, we're going to see your uncle."
I'm sick. I don't want to see him.
"Hey, listen, I'm sure your father will be coming back one of these days, and when he comes back, he'll want to know that you've been a good boy."
Yeah, well, he's not coming back. I'll tell you that much.
"Don't you say that." The human woman's voice repeats over and over, don't, as the environment kind of bends and warps and turns back into a prism of colors, and you have no frame of reference. Jerry.
Oh, where am I now?
You're deep below the earth, and you're surrounded by somnambulant dead. They're raking at you, trying to get at your heart.
No, I don't have anything. Get away from me.
"That's another winner, sir." The nearest husker clacks his mouth and offers you a plate of chips.
All right, I'll take that, but then I'm getting out of here.
Today. Big spender.
All right, how do I get out of here?
Why would you want to leave? You haven't even cashed out yet.
Cash me out real quick, then I gotta go.
Cash me outside. How about that? All right, Langdon.
Um. Can I tell if there are any animals nearby to hunt? If I've been on the trail.
You look around and you hear a screech. "Caw!" And your spirits are lifted. You see the form of a great hawk coalesces into being and starts to dive at you, its beak opened. And as it gets near you, it vanishes, and you find yourself in a cold bathtub.
And I'm gonna get out of the bathtub as quickly as possible.
You step out of the bathtub, but your feet appear to be stuck in concrete, and the space is filling with concrete coming off from behind a large wagon.
Do I have any of my personal belongings, or was I naked in the bathtub?
You appear to be wearing Dr. Cumberbund's clothes.
I'm gonna search around and see if there's a potion of acid in his pockets or anything.
You find a potion of acid, and inside is a dissolved skeleton of Trimerius Hergum V.
I'm gonna pour the acid all over my legs.
You pour the acid all over your legs, and it smells like warm butter and bread in the oven. And as you're doing this, you see that your legs are the plucked legs of a roasted chicken, and they're tied up with little rosemary garlands.
Am I out of the concrete, though?
Stephanie, it's your turn. Stephanie, you feel yourself all of a sudden in darkness. There's no prism. There's no kaleidoscope. There's just black.
What is happening? What's going on? Move anxiously in any direction.
Stephanie, you know you're special to me, right?
Who are you?
It's me, your old buddy, Nas'Thuriel.
No, it can't be. I saw you fly off. You just left us here.
Listen, you and I have got a glorious future together. So when you wake up, I want you to come find me, okay? Okay, bye. And as you, all of a sudden the light starts to kind of fade back in. And Stephanie, you open your eyes and you find yourself on the ground, kind of in nasty mud here. Feeling incredibly refreshed, you bolt upright. Whew, whew, and you're healed of all your wounds.
Do I still have actions, or is that am I just so?
I'm going to inform you at this point of a new Somnium ability that you have.
Oh. Ooh.
You have the ability to basically teleport short distances away for the purposes of combat or hiding, or that's up to you. But basically, you know, if we were working with a grid here, it would be like within like 20 feet. You can like, you know, kind of blink out by using a Somnium piece. It kind of, you go out in a little red puff of dust and then you reappear.
And I'm assuming it is, but it's all like line of sight.
No, I don't think it has to be. You would presumably have to have knowledge of where, but like we can kind of go over some of those specific mechanics later.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Dr. Cumberbund, the nightmare of your time in the Ravishment starts to wear away, and you come back to your senses. And yeah, you find yourself on the ground, lying sprawled out.
Am I feeling refreshed?
No, you feel like you have a terrible hangover, and you can smell something very foul as Chris is standing above you, looking unpleased.
Help me up, Chris.
Roll a charisma check.
God damn it, Chris.
I got 21. Come on, Chris, buddy.
Okay. He extends a warty hand towards you.
All right, I'll take his help.
All right, you pull upwards, and you're also gonna have a new somnium spell here, Langdon. Or excuse me, Dr. Cumberbund. You have a cosmetic spell where you can make magical makeup essentially with a piece of somnium. So by expending a somnium, you can dramatically change your appearance. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I don't feel so good. Where's Grizz? Oh, there he is.
Oh, you're all right, Chris. Don't worry. None of us feel very good right now. I personally feel like shit. Okay, but you're one of us now, all right? You're gonna be
You
part
have
of
some
the
medicine
gang.
for me, maybe?
Oh, well, yeah, we do. You just gotta give me a second to get my bearings, all right? I'm not gonna throw up right now, all right? Just shut up.
I think a lot of people got hurt today.
Yeah, well, they didn't like you anyway, so.
Yeah, you're right. Jerry, you abruptly snap out of your reverie, and you find yourself clinging naked to the top of the still. And
Oh, good gravy!
you start to slip and fall downwards. And
Oh, still slippery, guys.
you slip and bound off the still and land on your feet, still fully unclothed. You also have a new somnium ability.
A nude somnium.
This is a like a vampiric touch. Basically, you can expend a somnium and then make a touch attack on an enemy, and you'll deal them 3d6 damage, and you'll gain half of that life.
Okay.
So you could call it like the
Just
shaker touch or something like that.
Okay, would it be like a melee touch attack then?
Yeah. And give us a minute of dialogue here, Jerry.
Oh, jeez, I don't know what happened to my clothes. Any of you guys seen my clothes? I must have gambled this away on the roulette tables. Could have sworn I won though. You guys seen my winnings? Winnings, I know I won. I'm gonna take a stroll and find my clothes. I'll be right back.
All right, and Langdon, you awake, sitting cross-legged on top of a nearby barrel. You feel peaceful.
I check to make sure my legs are still my legs, and not those of a chicken.
You look down, reassured by your familiar elven gams.
And my hands are no longer trumpets.
And as you bring your hands up to your face, you feel the familiar scar running through your eye, and everything else is also as it was. And Langdon, you have a new somnium ability. It is the ability to summon a magical version of the one creature that you find somewhat tasteful, and that is an eagle.
Cool.
So, yeah, we can talk about the specs of that, but basically, for a limited duration or just however long it lives, you can summon a kind of like a magic eagle to be your little companion.
Cool. I'm going to stand up and walk over to... I'm going to kind of side-eye Jerry and walk over to Stephanie and Cumberbund and be like, so what happened with you two?
I don't really remember anything. I don't know. It's just I was in some alley and there were some addicts.
I got stuck in a gambling cave, and I won, but I couldn't collect my winnings for some reason, and I guess I should have kept playing because apparently I lost my clothes.
And this, huh?
I was me as a little kid, and I had to see some other kids I hurt, and it wasn't good.
And this Nas'Thuriel, he compelled you into this place?
I guess. I mean, I fell through this vortex of colors, and I stubbed my toe, and I tripped, and I just fell through the floor. Pretty much all I remember.
It's despicable. I was just waiting for you all to come out of it. It must have been a few hours or so, sitting on top of that barrel, waiting for you all.
It didn't keep you? That didn't...
No, nothing happened here.
Can I
check, Langdon? Why don't you do a bluff check, Langdon?
For sure. Let me... What would that be?
That's charisma.
I guess probably deception. 12.
Roll sense motive or whatever your, I guess in charisma would be there. Dr. Cumberbund?
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's a wisdom.
Okay, 15.
I got a 7.
You're calling bullshit. You think that Langdon was also in the Ravishment along with the rest of you.
Yeah, see, the thing, Langdon, is I've done a lot of shit like this, and that hit me. That knocked me on my ass. There's no way that didn't affect you.
I don't know what you're talking about. I guess maybe the human bloodlines in you are weaker than my own. Anyway, if it was to affect you three in such a horrid way, I suppose we should probably find out where that beast went and stop it. No need to allow more chaos to reign on the Veldt.
Wait, you guys don't feel good? I feel great.
Yeah, well, that makes sense why you feel great. You're addicted to this stuff.
Yeah, maybe we should just like take a couple vials of it on the road. I think that would be probably the best. I mean, we're here. And I know you have vials.
I just felt cold during, and I still feel cold. Probably because I don't have any fucking clothes. Does anyone have some extra clothes?
Chris extends his hand
back.
and he says, I've got an extra. And he holds out a soiled loincloth.
Hey, Chris, you keep that shit to yourself.
Chris looks down forlornly.
Well, if you want the finest vestments here, and I'm going to point to the exploded, soiled vestments of Grizz. That is the nicest coat around in these parts right now, even with the damage.
Can I, while this conversation is going on, can I initiate like a search check to try and locate my own garments?
Yes.
You could wear some of those red guards clothes.
I got
Something.
I got a 14.
Okay, hold on.
Oh wait, maybe would he be wearing the guards would he have been wearing the guards clothing?
Oh yeah, that is what I was
doing. Clothes would probably
I had that we just like you guys just like basically are wearing the guards clothes over your regular clothes. It was kind of
gotcha.
last time, and then you kind of ditched them when it was like I know it doesn't mechanically make sense, but I don't know.
No, that makes sense.
Works for me, yeah.
You search around for your clothes, and you see that they're hanging from a nearby tree.
Okay, I'm gonna go attempt to climb it and retrieve my clothes.
As you move to retrieve your clothes, you hear a scream, and you see Francesca, kind of all battered and bruised, her clothing and hair soaked and sticky with nasty, and you see the trembling form of Trimerius Hergum in her palms. Oh my God, Jerry, put some clothes on.
Well, I thought maybe you'd want to strip down with me. Not you, Trimerius.
I see that I see I'm not the smallest one around.
We're not a grower.
Francesca blocks her eyes and she says, "You better get your shit together if we're gonna catch that thing. I'm not sure where it went. It went out the forest this way."
Which way?
This way.
So he wasn't sober.
And he, excuse me, Francesca points off into the woods.
Oh, yes, of course. I must have been a bit turned around in all the chaos.
I don't know where that thing's headed. The question is, where do you all think? What's the plan? What should we do?
Can I make a wisdom check to see what's in, like, if I know what's in that direction?
Yes.
Just to kind of get at my bearings of, like, what's over there. Oh, shit. I don't know. Fucking shit. I'm sure of it. What would it be under? What do you think, like, the check would be?
Like survival or,
Okay, for sure. 9.
Yeah, you're turned around. You're out in the woods and you're not sure where you are.
Oh, so why didn't you see where he went there, Langdon?
Well, I saw you three. I was zapped as much as you three were, but I shook it off. But by the time I awoke, he was gone. I suppose Francesca was the only one not placed under his, not targeted by his spell.
Listen,
but,
you guys figure out what you're going to do. I appreciate your help. Thanks for letting me out, but I'm going to find my way back to the public house. I need to see my dad.
I think maybe we should head back to the public house to get our bearings again. Besides, knowing Francesca, she might not make it through these woods alone. She got captured the last time, and we didn't kill all the orcs and goblins.
So you guys now dialogue about what your next move is.
It's true. I'll be yelling from up in the tree.
Well, I don't know if we'll be totally welcome if we go back there, you know. I really think that there could be some enemies of ours there now. You know, what with killing the Baron of the land and, you know, running afoul of all the goblins, orcs, and whatever the fuck else is out here.
We'll at least be welcome in open arms with Reinhardt himself. He hates the barons. He hates the barons. He hates the goblins. It's maybe the one safe place we can go.
As long as if we return his daughter.
We should be going with his daughter.
Yeah.
And make sure that he knows that if it wasn't for us, she'd be, she'd have a few more holes in her head, that's for sure.
Right.
What do you think, Stephanie?
I'm okay. I'm on board with that. I'm a little bit concerned about having just killed the Baron. I'm thinking maybe this and combined with just going back into a more populated area, it might be time for old Steve to make an appearance.
Dr. Cumberbund, do you still have that that letter of his? That seal of the Barons?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I do.
Perhaps we could use that to, like, I don't know, forge some sort of papers or documents. The whole place is torn up. Make it look like it was the whole thing was a goblin job. You know.
We could do
we
that.
can't find the actual papers because we know he was in cahoots with them.
I think we could. We could even make up a whole last will and testament.
We could.
It seems worth noting that. It seems worth noting that I have. Jerry. It seems worth
Stop
noting
talking when I'm talking.
I just shove these things at Langdon, and it is a Gladwell orders of crenellation, a tube of paper wrapped up with a sealed gem, and that's it.
Whoa.
Shove them in him.
Okay.
These
I
might be
don't understand what these
useful.
orders are yet.
That's an official document right there.
I don't know anything about them. I took them from the Baron. They're your problem now.
Langdon, you have kind of like a high society type check, don't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or like, skill. Why don't you make a check related to these documents?
I got a 22.
Okay, Langdon, you recognize these orders of crenellation. They're special documents given to establish and maintain a barony. In this case, the Gladwell barony, and they're in the name of the senior baron, and then they're kind of postscripted to addend Julius.
Well. I mean, this is a legal document saying that Julius is the owner of the barony, and it shows the secession from the first Gladwell to the second. I don't see. I mean, with this amount of power, with this type of document, we certainly have a lot of power in our hands. What was the type of document it was?
The orders of crenellation.
Orders of crenellation. Okay, cool.
For the Gladwell barony.
So that's essentially the deed to the barony.
And it was essentially recovered from the goblins, right?
Jerry says as he walks back into town, arranging his clothes, or walks back into amidst the group, not into town.
Correct.
On that note, I'll zip my fly.
And you notice that Stephanie has walked off into the woods. She's departed.
Stephanie has, or
Oh, excuse me, Francesca has.
Oh man, I was like bold, but I am on board.
This document that we have of like proof of the barony is great and all, but it would probably look best if we return the Reinhardts with his daughter.
yeah, I agree. We should get going, and return with her to make sure that at least that can be that right can be claimed as ours. That we're the one who rescued her, rather than if nothing else. And while we're there, we may have a place to stay and be able to discuss this further.
All right. Well, we should get moving then. Let's follow her.
Hey, nobody asked what I wanted to do.
All right. Well, hold on. I've got some of the stuff for a healing potion. I know it didn't work before. That was a fluke. It'll work. We'll get that skin issue you have worked out. But you're one of us now. We could use your help.
Just don't touch us.
In the meantime,
Chris, a single slimy tear runs down Chris's cheek. Runs down Chris's cheek.
oh, what is that? What's on? Oh, it's a tear. Your tear ducts are extremely infected.
Can you make me something, Doc?
All right.
Should we go?
Follow us, Chris.
All right, so you guys going off in the woods?
Yeah.
We are gonna go off in the woods, I guess. I think we're all down for it,
I
right?
think we're all in agreement there. Yeah, let's do it.
Down
Yeah.
for
So
Francesca?
you head off into the woods after Francesca. You pick up the scent, and you catch up with him, lumbering with Chris along the way, looking kind of confused and listless, ever the follower, it appears. And after marching through the woods for about an hour, you come to a road that leads alongside some buckwheat fields. And there are farmers out in the field kind of, scything their wheat, and they stop and they look out towards you as this strange group goes along. And I didn't ask, but what's happening with the medicine cart?
I want to see if I can talk Chris into wheeling it for me.
Make a charisma check and say something to Chris.
Chris, I know I said quite a bit about how much we can use you, and orcs have such fantastical strength, and this cart is really weighing down on my spine. I'm really more of a thinking man. Would you take the yoke from me here? Oh, I got natural 20. Yeah.
Chris says, I believe in you, Dr. Cumberbund. I'm going to pull the cart so that you can make potions and make me feel better again.
All right. I'm going to try and kind of take advantage of the situation and actually get inside the cart so I don't have to walk.
Okay. So you hop inside the cart and you're getting pulled along. And, I'm
going to work on the cure here, all right? You just keep this cart moving.
All right. So you guys are moving alongside the fields. And, this group is curiously looking at you, and they kind of go back into their houses as they see this group moving by. After a while longer, you reach the public house, and presumably you go up to the back door there.
Do you think you could carry more of us in this cart?
I don't think there's room, Dr. Cumberbund.
We might just have to get a bigger cart then, don't we?
I've got blisters on my feet, and more than usual.
We'll pick this up later.
Okay, well, should I stay with the cart?
Absolutely. That's not a question, Chris.
Better yet, just stay inside the cart.
No, don't touch anything. Just stay.
Okay.
Well, it might roll away. There's not a brake on it, all right? Maybe we'll fix that later, but for now, someone's got to hold on to it so it doesn't roll away.
Or lay under the wheels.
Okay.
We believe in you, Chris. We love you.
Don't take too long.
We're going to take care of you now.
I'm itchy.
I know. It's okay.
All right, so you move to the back door and you follow Francesca as she goes into the Reinhardt Public House. And Reinhardt quickly and enthusiastically embraces her. And you see Trimerius pop out of her pocket and jump onto the bar top there. Francesca, I'm so glad you're all right. Don't ever leave me again, you hear? Okay, Dad, I won't. Jeez.
I totally forgot about Trimerius. I'm glad you're all right too.
Okay. What happened? For God's sakes, what happened? The Baron's gonna hear about this.
Oh, he definitely is ahead on the subject, that's for sure.
What does that mean?
Just that he's well aware of the goings on. I hate to break it to you, but that's where we found your daughter was at the Baron's residency.
Reinhardt turns and he grabs his boar spear from the wall and takes it down and grips it in his hand. Well, I think the Baron and I are going to have a few words.
That would be impossible, being that he is now dead.
My God, what happened? Tell me at once. Francesca, what's going on? Okay, so I'm trying to think. A lot has happened, actually.
Allow me. I'll
Okay,
keep it
yeah, go ahead. Rude.
Man.
So the Baron, you're well aware of the taxation of the Somnium taxation.
Yes, of course.
Well, the Baron was taking it to another level. It seems that he was collecting certain citizens and harvesting them for all they were worth. We had, while we were looking for your daughter, we did find her in the Baron's secret Somnium extraction chamber, where he was ready to harvest her until she was herself. I don't dare say it, but
My God, is
shaker.
this true, Francesca? It's true. I couldn't have ever foreseen this. This Julius was a blowhard and kind of an asshole, but I didn't think he would stoop to this.
Well, you can understand now why we had to take the actions we took. Why all of us, especially Steve over here.
How did he die? How did the Baron die?
I don't think anyone really knows that.
Listen,
And then I exaggeratedly wink behind my shoulder.
I'm not sure what the hell's going on here, but if the Baron's dead and you lot were the last there, you're going to want to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, that seems appropriate.
Well, who's still loyal to the Baron here?
No one here was ever loyal to the Baron per se, but when word gets back to the Crown Council, we'll have hangmen all over this place, combing looking for who killed the Baron.
Well, you've heard of Skullfucker Grizz. Have you?
No, I have not heard of Skullfucker Grizz.
You are aware of the goblins that attacked your residency less than a fortnight prior to these engagements?
We get goblins in here, raccoons sometimes. What of it?
Well, there's another person who we had to decapitate, and his name was Skullfucker Grizz. And he was a leader of a goblin band. And I look around to see if anyone's really listening to this besides us. Are we the only ones in the bar right now?
There's a few people. There's a dwarf and an orc over in the corner, a half orc sitting there drinking some apple brandy, and they're just kind of looking on at this. They don't really seem like they're listening, but they don't seem like disturbed. They're just kind of bemused.
Yeah, the Baron died, and Skullfucker Grizz is the blame. Yeah, that's the ticket.
It was all a big brutal mess. We're not sure who killed him, but he ended up dead at the end of it. None of us say that it was us to blame. So it must have been Grizz.
Your daughter can also verify that she was held captive by this Skullfucker Grizz.
All right, well, fair enough. All the same, I still think it's probably best if you all move on. I appreciate any hand you had in saving my daughter, but I can't go as far as saying that you're welcome to stick around here.
Is there any bands or factions that were that might profit from the Baron's death?
The senior Baron and I cleared this place out of orcs and goblins. Pardon me, and he takes a nod to the half orc in the corner, kind of like, sorry. Quite a while back, and there's never been any considerable threat from the goblins since then. There's never been anybody to organize them. They're like a bunch of fucking rats. Oh, sorry. And he points to Trimerius. Sorry. In any case, I can't imagine. No.
Mm.
Well, who's going to take over the barony from here on out? Who's the next in line?
When the Crown Council finds out, they'll make an appointment, I'm sure. I could petition to be appointed, but honestly, I like what I have going on here. I don't need a barony over my head.
Can I kind of pantomime to the other guys to kind of like get a moment like away from Reinhardt for a second. It's like,
Yeah, you guys are doing an aside.
can we have a word for a second? Excuse me, Reinhardt.
Jerry steps into the corner here. Are you doing it to Reinhardt or to?
No. I'm to the group away from Reinhardt.
All right, who's going over?
Just Langdon, Steve, Cumberbund. That's really it.
Yeah, I'll go over.
Yeah, I'm going.
Langdon?
Yeah, for sure.
Langdon, so you have this note that this is some sort of official document that, of the barony that would give someone perhaps an upper hand in obtaining the stewardship of the barony.
Yeah, we have the credence, and we have I have nice paper and nice ink, very high quality, straight from the Baron's desk himself. We have his signet. I see where you're alluding to, and I don't see why we couldn't give it a shot, give it a try. What do you think?
We could. What are you alluding to?
Forging some sort of document, maybe a letter or a will of the Baron, and placing it within his desk, so that when the council goes towards his house, realizes maybe who the Baron would appoint as the next owner of the barony.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Not different at all.
That's the ticket.
You and I are
That's the ticket.
not so different after all. Pains me to say it.
Perhaps we could. Perhaps after we get that in place, we could acquire Reinhardt's support in our future efforts.
We are definitely the closest protectors of this region. Killing off all them fucking Grizz and Sniz and.
Well, even if Reinhardt doesn't want to be the next Baron, we could at least set him up so that the council selects him as the next Baron, which then, maybe he could provide us aid as a Baron could in the future, because he owes us.
And in truth, Baron doesn't really need to do much to manage their estate. There are many housecarls and underlings to run it for them, who really are the ones who can benefit from the power if we stack it correctly. And besides, with what's his name? I'm blanking on him. It's been a long trip, you guys.
Who are you trying to pick?
Reinhardt?
With Reinhardt, yeah.
Oh yeah, Reinhardt.
With Reinhardt's history and with him being the other person who had cleared out these lands, it only makes sense for us to nominate him. But let it be the community. I even have this pull up a dear friend letter. Do you still have that letter out of game? Do you still have that letter?
Yeah, you guys still have that letter.
Can we read it out loud one more time just to see what it's?
Yes, I have to dig it up. I think
if that's okay. I have a feeling that this letter may pertain to Reinhardt as a. But let me refresh my memory.
All
Let me
right.
see if it's in my bag
Talk amongst
here.
yourself in a second. I'm trying to find this letter.
Is that what you were suggesting, Jerry? Is nominate Reinhardt?
Yeah, and not so many words. Yes.
And we can sort of force him to be the Baron while we reap the benefits of it.
Sure, but he won't even let us stay in his inn. Why would he help us when he's the Baron if he won't help us now when there's less at stake?
Well, because for one, he owes us for saving his daughter, and for two, he got some good.
Now.
Yeah, but he doesn't really have much reason to help us, but a Baron needs more assistance than a public house owner. So he needs allies. He owes us a favor. We've got the sort of jump on him.
Not to mention that it sounds like he is marginally, if not fully, interested in perhaps taking up the barony.
We just have to pitch it to him in a way that makes it seem like it's going to be a lot cushier than running this in.
Yeah.
We can also we can promise him the sill that we found both in the Baron's house, the one in and the one in the orc encampment, so he could double his production of cider if he really wants.
Oh, there's the letter.
He gets extra land. He gets extra cider material.
I think also that we could put an angle on him with his daughter too, because clearly she's interested in the lifestyle of a baron, so that he could give his daughter Francesca, everything she ever wanted.
Great.
That's fine, but we should get some somnium from him now, or it's just something to help us on our way.
Yep, not a bad idea.
I also think I could help his daughter fully realize her dreams. In not such a grandiose sort of way.
I don't know.
On that note, very romantic.
You're gonna go from a baron to a dirty river gambler.
who's a shower but not a grower.
Chimerius pipes up.
Coming out of a.
You discover Chimerius has been
Hi, motherfucker.
And Chimerius says, I'm a shower and a grower.
Yeah, well, okay.
That's right, little T.
Referring to his
how big he can grow.
I'm about to dick slap you, Chimerius.
Langdon, you locate that letter.
Great. I want to read it out loud.
Oh, okay. I can screen share.
Or at least bring everyone around, and I'll read it in sort of an ASMR whisper.
Yeah.
All right, here you go, Langdon.
We need the ASMR mic then.
Can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
There it is.
Dear friend, I have written this letter 100 times, and 100 times I have unwritten it. Even now, as I force pen to make, my heart swells and waves and breaks against the cliffs of my soul. I weep, for I no longer hold hope that this letter will reach you. In fact, I know it is the truth. I could not write it as I now do if he and I both didn't know it would never be sent. And since my cry shall remain silent and still, locked in a drawer of ink on this scroll.
What are you doing, son?
What?
What are you whispering?
And I'm going to tuck it away. And I'll say, just a quick prayer before our dinner.
What have you got there? What's that scroll?
This scroll? Oh, these are just maps. I'm a cartographer. I've been chartered to map out these lands. I'm sure you've heard of the land dispute I settled just the other day, actually.
I think I did hear something about that. That reminds me, where are the Cropper brothers?
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen them since I settled their land. Perhaps they did not seem too happy about the order that I had been able to decree.
He killed the Cropper brothers. And Francesca she points over at Jerry. He blew their heads off. It's what allowed us to escape. It was really fucked up.
No, that's not entirely true.
The Chopper brothers are dead too. They were killed by the Baron's dogs.
Sort of a Saw 1 type situation where they kind of accidentally chose their own head.
Reinhardt looks at you all and he says, I think you all are bad news. I can vouch for you to an extent, since you helped free Francesca, but I think it'd be best if you cleared out of town, if only for a couple days, till things settle down here.
Look, we're in a lot of trouble here, all right? You can't just send us off into the woods here. We need your help, all right? We need a man with influence in this town, otherwise we're all going to see the news.
What can I do for you?
Become the next Baron.
Make a charisma check here, guys, and give me your best presentation to convince Reinhardt to
First,
take over the
can we
Baron.
get a private room with him? Can we go into a private room in the inn and have this conversation?
Yeah,
That's my first thing I'm going to say. Is like
I think
we'll
public
tell
would
you
be
we'll
good.
tell you the story. We just want to make sure that it's.
You don't think people drinking in his bar will want their bartender to become the next Baron?
when he says that, when Cumberbund says that, the guys at the bar, they clink their glasses on the table. Yeah, Reinhardt for Baron. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I got a 20 on my persuasion.
Okay, so you guys, I'm gonna put the timer on, and you guys all together give us a pitch for making Reinhardt the Baron. Throw it all at him.
So, your daughter left. She left all this here at the public house because it didn't interest her the way the barony interested her. It was just that even some stuck-up asshole like Gladwell was able to pull her away just because she wanted more in life than these dark walls and the stinky boar's head. As beautiful as it may be to a warrior like you, to a young lady, it's all just lacks a little glamour, you know?
Okay, I'm listening.
Think of the way you could improve her lifestyle with a baron's means. You could dress her in the finest clothes and introduce her to the most wealthy young men of the land.
Francesca looks at the Baron and says, "It's true, Dad. You may not want to do it, but there's no one around here that's better suited to the job.
She's right.
The decision's not up to me. The Crown Council will come in, they'll do an investigation, and they'll probably pick somebody. I don't know.
Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. We can handle a recommendation ourselves. Believe me when I say that we have all the required materials to influence the council. And I'm going to tap on the scroll of the bear of that decree I found that we found.
The letter.
We can make sure that the council has the highest recommendation straight from the Baron himself.
Reinhardt looks a little overwhelmed and he says, "Okay, well, if you want, you can stay here tonight. Let me think this all over."
And Reinhardt, I know your passion is brewing. The cider you made and double, triple your production of cider. And if you want to, you can keep all your same simple pleasures. It's a matter of benefiting your daughter. That's what that's what we'll help you do.
Well, in addition to that,
so you so heartily work to maintain and cull down into order. What needs you?
You're going to control all the shipping lines in and out of this land. And imagine you're going to have full distribution rights. If you want to take your brandy, but wherever you please, you'll have the means to brew as much as you like, and you'll have full distribution rights with no taxes and no payments anywhere because you're the Baron.
At this, you can tell that Reinhardt is starting to come around to the idea. My camera got unplugged. Okay, sorry.
We don't mean to overwhelm you, Baron. It's a lot to think about. And if you want to sleep on it, you can. But know that we must begin acting quickly. If the sooner we act, the better our...
Either that or just sit tight here and wait for whatever dandy they bring in from out of town to manage your home. I mean, you're a pillar of the community. You know the people. Isn't that right, boys? And gesture over to the dudes drinking at the bar.
And when you gesture over them, you see that they're over by the doorway talking to Chris, and they look like they're not wanting to let him into the bar. They're kind of like strong-arming him now. They've kind of lost interest in this conversation. But Reinhardt says, I see your points. All right, we better start making preparations. When the Crown Council man comes around, we better be ready with a plan. And with that, let's do a once around, starting with... God damn it! I stepped on my camera again.
God damn it!
Let's do a once around, and we'll start with Langdon, and we'll get a beat on what the plan is for dealing with the council representative if or when he shows up. I'm just gonna go back to scene one here.
I'm glad to see. Is this like our ending monologue?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad to see that Reinhardt is finally coming around. He's, of course, a little blue-blooded about it. He's not quite the aristocrat that is normally in running a barony, but I believe that he'll be a good choice. What's up? Oh, sorry, I thought I heard someone else talking. Our next step should be that we make that we forge a document, a letter itself from the Baron, saying that that our good old boy here is the only one who should be taking over the barony for the fact that he was the one who took down the goblins originally. Let it go to the next heir of the land, if the family is not available. As well, we should probably remove any signs that the Baron was culpable in the actions of with the goblins. Try to scrub that as clean as possible, so not to dissuade the judgment of any council to think that the Baron was no longer logical or reasonable. And then the next would be to just prepare our patsy. The next Baron in line, to know exactly what to say when the council comes around. That type of rhetoric is easy.
All right, Stephanie, what are your thoughts on the situation?
I don't think that anyone has figured out that I'm Stephanie. And I'm gonna applaud myself for that, whether or not it's true. My Steve act is really, really coming in handy. I don't think this whole Baron thing is ever gonna catch up with me or come back to me in any way. I couldn't care less who the next Baron is. I got my revenge. This is all nothing to me. Langdon has a whole scheme. I can tell by the way he's talking about this. He's gonna set him up and figure it out. And in the meantime, I'm really feeling a pull to leave this and go try to find Nas'Thuriel.
Okay. Dr. Cumberbund. Dr. Cumberbund.
I think that as long as we leave a credible note, which I think we are totally capable of doing, in the Baron's desk, I think the parts of the barony that were destroyed, I think we should block off and do something about that, hiding that elevator, because they can't find that. That is going to blow the lid on our whole operation, basically. But as long as they just see the barony as it is, that it was raided by goblins, and the Baron was murdered, perhaps in his bed, perhaps at the defenses of the manor, then I think we'll have all the grounds we need to nominate Reinhardt, and he really is the best option. So, yeah.
Jerry.
Boy, oh boy, am I glad I took those guys aside when I had. I'd like to credit myself to catalyzing this whole plan, but I do believe I'm just thankful that Mr. Langdon and Mr. Cumberbund had a greater understanding of that document than I did because, you know, now that I'm just talking to myself here, I thought maybe we'd give it to Reinhardt, and in good faith that he'd become, take it upon himself to become the Baron and perhaps keep us in his favor. But they had a much better plan than I did. I don't think they need to know that. But I think it's all working out. I'd really like to find a way to, get rid of that Chris fellow. He seems to be a real pain in the ass. Not carrying any of the rest of us on Cumberbund's cart. But in the meantime, I think we're on the right path, and I think we're on the right path to getting Reinhardt in the barony, and I think Francesca will come around to the idea of Mr. Jerry Duster before this whole thing's said and done.
And with that, we'll close this week's section. I'll post to that thing tonight. Caitlin, would you mind posting that link to the prompt app again in our group chat?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks for playing, guys, and I will see you next week.
Thanks, Woody. Cool
Have a good
session.
evening.
We are.
Oh, yeah, this is really cool.